hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Average Superstar TV. I am your host, Lauren Lepre. Thank you for taking the time to check out this podcast. Please hit that subscribe button. Also, remember, every comment, good or bad, is always answered. So feel free to jump in. And this week, we are back in the wrestling world. With the show topic is actual moments that got you. Like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Well, all right, we're going to flip back to one of your picks, sir. We're going to go back to about 1995 here. Well, this picture says it all, but Brian Pillman exposing Kevin Sullivan as the Booker Man.
Man, if you weren't watching wrestling during this time, you have no idea the grip Brian Pillman had on the professional wrestling industry. Now, we're in the internet days, we're in the dirt sheet days where PW Torch and you know, all those other things are going on. And we as the audience who are in the know that Kevin Sullivan's the Booker.
Yep.
But to hear Brian Pillman say, "I respect you, Booker Man," you're like, whoa, yeah. Can you say that? Is that allowed? Should they have bleeped that? And then he goes, Brian Pillman does not get enough credit for being one of the greatest professional wrestlers and one of the best minds in the business.
Let me pause for a second and also say, if Brian Pillman didn't hurt his ankle, I think during the Monday Night Wars that Brian Pillman had a very good shot at being par or possibly exceeding Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah,
because that loose cannon gimmick to me was the only thing more hardcore than Stone Cold, because you didn't know what he, and plus he was working the boys half the time.
He was working the back. He was working the office. He had Vince convinced he was signed. Paul knew. Knew he was he let Paul like, yeah, you could do this here because it's going to be ratings for me. He had WCW convinced he was coming back. Like, he was working everybody. Yep. And that's the moment you're like, and then I think you messaged me. You went on to wrestle a pencil as kind of, here's the pencil, here's the book.
Yeah. He was. I just think he if I don't know if he was ever going to recover right from that ankle, but if things worked out, oh my gosh, I think it would have been him and Austin. Like, they are the bad, like, boys of and obviously they have the whole gun angle and all that stuff. I mean, it was already
I thought about that too.
It was already on fire. Yeah. So
Pillman's awesome.
Oh gosh, one of my favorites ever, and I loved him. I love him and Benoit's version of the Horseman. I love that beginning of, because I was, even like I said, I love him as a horseman because I'm a Horseman guy, but I was also like, did he really freaking lose it? Like I'm like, what, like all them years of like good guy, bad guy, kind of cheesy. Like, what is this? This is awesome. Whatever it is, I love it.
Yeah, so, it brought you in, it blurred the lines, and it got you thinking. Yep. That's what I think people don't credit wrestling enough, is that it makes you think, and that's when it's at its best.
Yep. We're going to go to one of Hackett's pick, which I heavily agree with. This was a one-of-a-kind first moment this ever happened in wrestling. It's happened more since. But ECW, it's Tommy's first lesbian angle ever, or first lesbian kiss ever in wrestling history on TV, and the place to do it of all places in 1996 in ECW.
I'm hardcore. I'll take them both.
Yeah.
Man, but like it's Tommy's, and then Joey Styles, Tommy's, and oh man. No one, it was a time and a place to be in ECW, and nobody talks about what Raven and Tommy Dreamer did. It's Sisyphus. It's classic Greek tragedy, and it was one of the best stories ever told in a professional wrestling ring. All the ups and downs.
Top 10, easy. I didn't like the second half when he came back at all, but I love this. So anybody who's not following this, Tommy Dreamer was supposed to be like the jockey kid in high school, and Raven was supposed to be the guy everybody picked on. Raven turns into this cult-like character, and you know, he brings a whole flock of people. He's going to come back and get Tommy Dreamer. He brings in a former fat girl who was Beulah McKillicuddy, but now she turned into this really hot, pretty woman to get revenge on him. But as the angle goes, Beulah and Tommy get together. So, yeah, this was the big moment where she says she's pregnant, and then Dave says it's Tommy's. And that's crazy. And then it turns out she was in love with a third person, which was
Kimona Wanalaya.
The best freaking name ever in wrestling.
I was gonna honestly, Paul Heyman should be a little ashamed. That's so on the nose, like a little ashamed.
And Raven finds her at a strip bar and just brings her in. I love that.
I mean, that's how ECW worked, though.
Pretty much, yes. All right, flipping on is going to probably be one a lot of people don't remember. Hackett, you're going to remember this moment. I'm a Giant Horseman fan. If you were to ever tell me that this happened, not only on Monday Nitro, but the very next week, he beats him again because nobody pins this guy, and he did it back-to-back weeks. A lot of moments people don't remember, might not remember this. Arn Anderson pins Hulk Hogan.
I remember this really well.
Being a Horseman fan, and I just was just like, well, Hogan's just clearly going to win because he's Hogan. And when Arn won, I know it was like a cheating thing back. I remember screaming in my apartment, screaming to Garrett, Arn just beat Hogan. It was freaking a great. I don't know the story behind it. I don't know if Hogan just liked Arn and said like, yeah, you tonight, or what happened? Because we'd say Hogan's going to wrestle Arn Anderson tonight. What is anyone going to think the result is? So
you think it's going to be like a Horseman run-in or something?
Yeah.
Like that. Wasn't the storyline with this? I'm trying to remember. I remember the moment, but
I have the picture of Hollywood Hogan up there, but this is Red and the Gold Hogan. So I don't know why it happened.
Flair couldn't beat him. It was about Flair couldn't beat him, and there was like supposed to be turmoil in the Horsemen. That might have been the angle.
I think we're a little bit past that. Dude, this was just like a random. Like, why did Arn do it? But when you say shocking moments, the fact that they have a rematch the next week, Arn pins him again. So to me, when Arn Anderson, when he retired, he could say, yeah, I was a Horseman. Yeah, I was a great tag team and the TL. He could say, I also pinned Hogan twice. And who's done that? You know, like really?
Yoko?
Did he pin him twice? I don't know.
At least the one time. I know he's never gotten that back. He probably goes and leg drops Rodney's grave every now and then and lays across it to try and get his win back.
Yeah. But crazy moments like something like that. And this is under the Bischoff era, not the Vince Russo. Like it was just like good for Arn. I salute you.
I love Arn.
All right, this next one I was in the front row for. Unfortunately, I can't get none of the pictures that I was looking for online have me in it. But I was at this. I got a story for it, but it's Hackett's pick. So he goes first, obviously. Taz and Bigelow, living dangerously, go through the ring in Asbury Park. I'm right behind the referee there.
Is that Molyneux or is that Finnegan? I always get him confused. So, I ran my list by a bunch of people, and they talk about a lot of these high spots. That's shocking. Like, no, ECW had me ready for that. Watching Japanese wrestling on tape had me ready for that. But I have never seen people go through the ring, and it's happened a bunch since then. But and then Finnegan sells it like he's seen 10 ghosts all at once. Mm-hmm. And man, what a shocking moment. That feud was so good. So good. Then they tried to recreate it, and I'm kind of bummed because this doesn't feel like a Paul move, but then they redid it again, the spot on the ramp.
Yes.
But I was like, you did it. But this is shocking, and everyone sold it so well. You know, Joey Styles, I think, the best to do it. My favorite of all time, and Finnegan selling this. Nobody talks enough about the job of the referee, the job of the announcers to make these moments pop. And what a great job. All right, so you were there. Where this is Asbury Park?
As Asbury Park. So for the wrestling fans to know, I was at every single Living Dangerously. I can
That's
say
awesome.
that. Yes, I know. I worked behind the scenes with helping a promoter. So again, I for ECW, I never was on the payroll. I've never spoke to Paul Heyman in my life. So anybody sitting there like, what are you talking about? I worked for a promoter that worked for Paul. So I was doing work for ECW, but reality, I was working for the promoter, helping him do his work for ECW. So that's where I was getting paid for a little while there. Then I also came to Sound Guys, Randy Holt. I was his helper, basically at the arena and anywhere I could get to, because I was working a full-time job. So it was kind of hard for me. How close is the show could I get to it? So I got front row for Living Dangerously. First off, before we talk about this, I have to say, for anyone who watches this match, they constantly show it in the highlight reel, but Taz suplex Bam Bam into the crowd and literally almost hits his head. That I don't know how he didn't get that. Scares me because his head almost, like, he almost decapitated himself, basically.
Yeah.
To me, that's the biggest moment. Let me tell you my thoughts here. I had no idea this was coming. I mean, obviously, why would you tell me? But when they went through the ring, because I knew a lot of the guys around ringside, particularly the Atlas guys, when they went through the ring, I was stunned and I was all like, wait, like how? Because I was on a ring crew for a different promotion, Women's Extreme Wrestling. So I knew the setup of a layout of a ring. So I'm like, that's impossible. But regardless, I want to help. So I'm kind of looking at the Atlas guy like, can I jump? I just want to go, do you need help? I'll jump the freaking rail. Whatever. I was totally like, after about 45 seconds, I was kind of like, that's pure metal, dude. They got you. They got you. How did they do it? Because I'm saying to myself is like, how did they not scrape their backs or their knees? Like, there's got to be a cutoff if there's a trap door. I'm really blown away at how the hell they did this. But as soon as when they came out, I'm like, wow, just when you thought like you're on the other side of the curtain.
Yeah. And that, it feels bad and good at the same time.
Yeah, that does. I was just like, they got me.
I got worked, but oh damn. What a good job.
And I was so happy. I was just like, that's great. I mean, that was just awesome. And Bigelow wins in his hometown of Asbury, and he deserved it.
Absolutely. Oh, great moment. Great moment. I loved the ECW. It's growing up, and I mean, that's why I went to LaSalle, is because I was obsessed with Philadelphia and Philadelphia wrestling. And like, I would stay up till 2:00 in the morning to catch it on MSG. It was such a moment, and it was perfect for, a teenage kid.
Also, I know what you're talking about, staying up for MSG. And I remember it was on at like 1, but it was also on at like 2 in the morning at certain times. So I was doing my 21 thing and going to the bar. I would leave the bar at 1:30 to get home for 2 to watch ECW. And like 1/4 of the time, there'd be no show. And I'm like, I didn't know for nothing. I'm like, what the hell happened?
I know, and you never knew. I'd be like, why the hell are the sports reporters here? I don't want them. There's a horse race right now? What horse race? Where?
Or maybe
ECW.
Maybe I stayed home and I went to sleep at midnight. I'd put the timer on to wake up at 2, and I'd be like, what the hell is this? So I'm going back to bed. You had to search to get the like
you had to work for it.
Stations change. You had to search for ECW. My first 1996 is when I got really wind of this. Is like, I got to be a part of this. I had people that were in Scranton area, because I was past the Scranton area. I was giving them blank videotapes. Like, could you just please record? And like, I would call them like the next day, and I'd wait like a freaking annoying kid. But I'd be like, hey man, did you tape the show? Cool. Are you home? Because I'll come pick up that tape. And then
I will be
also
there.
Like for 2 weeks straight, and I'd be like, hey man, last night's show, did you tape it? Like, oh Lauren, sorry, like it just slipped my mind, and tape. Like, dude, don't worry about it. Click. You son of a bitch! You never want to freaking tape it. But I needed them. I couldn't yell at them. It was like a drug dealer. You can't yell at a drug dealer, But you know how to put a timer in, man? Come on. But those were freaking great times. Yeah. All right. Another shocking moment was one of my picks.
All right.
People know of this and never talk about it, but you say shocking, just like Arn beating Hogan. I got to go with this. I don't know why they picked this one, but I was happy because it was young and an upcoming talent. Billy Kidman beats Hogan on Monday Nitro. I remember this during the
recollection of that, and I am a huge Kidman fan. Huge Kidman fan.
So
recollection.
Right when the new blood kicked in, Kidman was one of them. They gave him Tori, and they were getting pushed. Hogan bled on Monday Nitro. They cheated. You got a chair shot. Someone distracted the ref. You got a chair shot. Hogan bled and took the pin count. And you got to look. I was just about this like awesome. Also, like, why'd they pick Billy Kidman? I guess they were just looking at like the young, explosive talent. Let's give him the biggest launch you possibly could. But he beat Hulk Hogan, everybody. And that's why I said this list is like shocking moments.
Wow, I don't even remember that, and I'm a huge Kidman fan. AJ Styles is on what's his name, Chris Van Vliet. He interviews everybody, and he was saying that Kidman was like the guy back there. They didn't want AJ doing the shooting star because that was Kidman's move.
Yeah,
and like they really had high hopes for him, which is crazy because again, I love Billy Kidman. He is not. Especially WCW. WWE went smaller before WCW did, and he was a little guy. Wow.
The thing, like you tell me, because I think he jumped up when WCW fell. He did jump up to the WWE, right? But I don't think he panned out. He didn't pan out, right?
No, he had a great run with Paul London as tag champ. This is during that time when they were like, are we going to do light heavies? Are we not going to do light heavies? He had some run. Him and Paul London had good tag matches and a good feud as well.
So how many? What would you say the year 2000? What did he fade out of the WWE? Around what?
I mean, he had to be. I don't remember anything around Mania 20. So I think like 2003, 4.
So did he ever return? Like, where did he go?
I think he just called it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was. I don't know if his mic skills ever got because, like, I don't think he ever developed his character. His wrestling was explosive and great right out of the gate.
Yeah,
always was good, but I just don't know if that didn't work. Like, I don't know if that was his downfall. Is there politics that we don't know about? But
I mean, if there's politics and you got to win over Hogan, you're obviously on the right side of those.
Yeah. I'm talking about when you jump up north.
Oh, yeah.
There's one thing about you can't say anytime somebody came that was a supposed star from down there, they cut you down to size and then we're going to rebuild you, which I think it's so freaking wrong. It's just wrong. Like, you're not one of our guys. So
I mean, we see it nowadays still when they were throwing like the TNA guys in NXT. Like, you're telling me that Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Eric Young need to be in your developmental. Samoa Joe, like these are seasoned veterans. And AJ even said, Vince didn't think I was going to get a pop. He didn't think anybody knew who I was. I was like, that is not being in touch with the industry that you're supposed to be at the top of. Because if you didn't know who AJ Styles was and you didn't think your audience did, like, you don't know what's happening.
Well, without a doubt. I also think like he might have kept somewhat of eyes on the other companies, but I don't think he could because he's running toys, he's running TV deals and all this. I don't think Vince ever had the time because it was also when you go back to what could have been WrestleMania 8, it was supposed to be Flair and Hogan, the dream guys, but reality, the WWF audience, like 3/4 didn't know who Flair was, and those ticket sales were not selling. That's why they broke them two up. It's like, you got to give Hogan another giant, put Sid in there.
Yeah.
That's why that happened.
What a lackluster run that was for Flair. It just really didn't connect. But I mean, that's a different time because the people who had WCW didn't often have WWE and vice versa. I mean, I remember I was one of the few. We had USA and we had TBS Superstation. So we had both. So I grew up watching both. But that's a valid point. And he probably just rolled with that from there. He's like, well, I don't have to pay attention to my competitor because look what happened when Flair came in. He's the greatest of all time and did not much.
I look at when Flair came, I enjoyed that time. Maybe
I did too.
As much like when he was with Henning and all that, and Macho Man, it's Randy and Elizabeth, it's
the
Flair
petting the horse.
Oh, I loved all that. I still used to get chills when Flair first came out and did his promo to Hogan. You know how long am I waiting for this moment? You know, like, oh my God, for that, I hollered your name.
The pixelated belt. Oh.
Yeah. I hollered your name for 7 years. You know what? You never hollered back. Like, I was like, wow, this is going to be great. But I also understand that audience, if they didn't see Flair, they're like, who's this guy showing up with a belt calling himself the champ? I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
He's a nature boy. Buddy Rogers is Buddy Rogers, Playboy Buddy Rose. Like,
no one will ever tell me there's a better Royal Rumble when he won.
Oh, God.
Based on how many stars were there and Bobby Heenan's complete body. Like rooting interest in it. Oh, like he was so Bobby Heenan was so unbelievable on that. How long has he been there? 35 minutes. That's enough. He won. It was just so freaking good. All right. Next one will be one of your picks. This is definitely one of the biggest moments in wrestling. We knew this was coming, this leaked, but we didn't know the ending, that's for sure. Simultaneously, Shane McMahon on WCW Nitro and Vince McMahon on Raw. And I'll always remember. I'm sorry, it's your pick. You go first.
Oh, I was in my dorm room, and there's a picture of all of us with that split screen and just pointing up at it like shocked. Yeah, we knew Vince bought, and we knew something weird was going on, but I don't think I ever expected to see Shane there. And the delivery of the promo, that contract says McMahon, but it says Shane. I was like, all right, man, let's go. Let's do this. And they proceeded to completely botch everything and ruin what could have been the hottest storyline ever. But that moment, like, I literally just found the picture. It's me and a bunch of friends in a dorm room just shocked at what's happening. Because who would have thought, like, the long term of, oh my God, Vince McMahon bought WCW, that's shocking, but we knew it happened. I didn't expect the storyline ramifications like that.
Yeah, it's one of those because you were hearing rumors for a bit, and the same promoter I worked with for ECW talked to Garrett the other day. So Garrett came back to because this is when we were living together. He's like, "Yo, dude," he's like, "Tonight's the final Nitro, and Vince is supposed to come out." And I was just like, "Okay," but I had a little bit of like I kept it myself, but like I got sad because I'm like, as much as WCW is a different promotion, this is still the NWA to me.
Yeah.
Like a piece of my childhood is now gone. And I knew, as I said earlier, when I faded for a good 20 years here and I'm slightly getting back into it, I knew you had ECW, you have WCW and WWF at the time. And you're like, if I don't like any of these, I just watch the other one. Well, now you're going to go to just one. And I was like, I'm only going to be around this so long because the second, like, I was not even going to talk about the invasion angle because it didn't take for a little while, but I was just like, there's so many people here so fast. I remember at one point I saw like X-Pac and Just Incredible as a tag team. Like, it's like, this could work. I'm guaranteed they're not going to give them a good shot. Like, they're going to break this up quick. They're going to try things. Vince is going to job out all the WCW guys. Like, the second The Rock said, like, who are you to Booker T? I was like, oh, God, this is really disrespectful. This is kind of like, I didn't like it. I knew I was going to fade. And when I did, I remember I went a couple weeks and I stayed home on a Monday night and I was flipping through the channels saying there's nothing for me to watch. And then around 11:30, I was like, wow, Raw was on. I didn't even think about it. Like, wow, I'm out. I'm out. I can't believe it. Like, it's something that was a natural program. Like, try to get home by 9 o'clock is now out of my head. That means I lost. And, and that's the only thing that was keeping me was my dream was with you and where all the indies we were doing. Like, I was dead inside. I was enjoying what I was doing, but I was like, 3 companies turned into one. I'm never getting in. Like it'd be almost.
Oh, I didn't even think of that because my aspirations were never like to wind up there. As weird as that sounds, like I knew that the path for me was a hard one. But not
not to top you, but the fact that I had ties to ECW,
Yeah.
I felt like Garrett and I were, or at least the kittens, the cats, the stray cats on the back porch that maybe had a shot of like, hey, there's a couple of guys didn't show up tonight. Why don't you go in there and get
always
killed?
Be ready. Always bring your gear.
There was no guarantee if it stayed around.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming that, but the fact that so many people wish they could get to that back porch and we were there, that was soul crushing because I'm like, there's just no way. I'm undersized and I'm a manager, and we're in the era of all the divas are the manager. Like, but what am I gonna bring to the table? Maybe they'll take Garrett. They ain't taking me. I knew that. So that was.
I didn't even think of that. Like how dream crushing that could be because there was no. OVW might have been around then, or maybe
they were. We knew tons of people. It was like Punk was there. I did 2 shows at Punk. I never spoke to him in my life. But you know, it was just we knew like we would always dissect the shows when like we knew someone from Ohio Valley or you know where they came from compared to you know the guys that we were with majority of the times with you. Like we know it. Yeah, this is that guy from South Philly, South Jersey over here.
Yeah, we know him. He's fine.
Yeah. So
he's not going anywhere, but he's good enough for here.
Yep, and it was one of them. Even when me and Garrett had came to an end, it's just like I was like I could go manage someone else. But there's one thing about Garrett, regardless of us not being good roommates, I guess you could say, him and I thought alike. Like he could finish a thought of what we think we should do here, and the same vice versa. I'm like, to start managing someone new and like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's do this, or like, no, this is what I think. I'll be like, well, it's kind of where I said I'm taking off, and then back in my head, I was like, well, I could get back into this. I have my ties, but I kind of knew I had a lot of other things I want to do, like MMA and this and that. I was like, I think I'm done. This is weird be saying officially I'm going to walk away for now, but I kind of know now is permanent until the last year with Fight Court like going on, which may or may not take off, but we'll see. So
it was a shocking moment that like the industry folded in on itself, and now we're just looking at the one. And it wasn't until like, sure, we had some indies around like ROH and CZW. We're doing big things for indies. Dragon Gate popped up, but like it wasn't.
You got AEW now, and it bothers me that fans want to see it. A lot of fans want to see it fail, and I'm like, that's not good.
No,
that's not good. It's
not good for the boys. It's not good for anybody.
Because you make an empire, and you know right now you got an empire going on, and the empire is going to have problems, and to me it does right now, currently going into WrestleMania, which I like to get to at the end. But let's get back to this countdown.
Let's go.
All right, so we got 4 left. This was one of a kind freaking moments ever.
All right.
Rick Rude being on Nitro and Raw at the same night,
and was in ECW that weekend.
Yeah.
What
like
the hell?
What the hell is right? And Hackett, your pick. Go for it.
What happened? How did this happen? He shaved to make sure you knew he looked different on one than the other. Who let contracts expire? Like what? How? He rolled through ECW. His stuff in ECW is fantastic. By the way,
him and Joey Styles together was freaking great.
I mean, and he had that like the whole gimmick under the hood, and the stuff was like it was so good. And then, all right, he's in WWE because he went WWE and then he went to WCW, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And then to show up on Nitro, and this was, you go back to the shocking moment I said with giving up the world title win. WCW had the ability because they were live and WWE was taped. And it took WWE so long to realize that was such a huge problem. I mean,
it was also, it's kind of like someone who eventually it's going to come to an end. Like, this is also your demise. Like, we're going to beat you in the long run because of this, because live costs more money. And it was truly the demise. It wasn't the program. It was the live bleeding money. But this was a moment where you can't unfix.
No.
The only thing I thought they could have done I don't know how long, like back in the the files, I don't know if it was tapes or files.
Yeah.
You have gotten Rick Rude's segment out of there completely before it aired, so they don't look foolish. But I don't know. I don't know how.
Well, going back to what you were saying, was Vince even paying attention? Did he know until somebody told him? How do you not have these people secure? Like it's like, how did you not take the strap off of Jeff Jarrett before his contract expired? And then you have Jeff Jarrett in the most carny moment ever, holding up WWE to lay down for China, and like, how do you not have that under control? How do you know that Rick Rude isn't signed to you and you're using him week in and week out, and he shows up on your competitor? It makes you look so Bush League.
Yeah, it was just a crazy moment, but it was also one of them. It was kind of like the end of Nitro, the last show where you were flipping the Raw and Nitro and seeing the same program. It was kind of like, there's Rude there, there's Rude there. It was like, I dug it. It's a cool moment. I have to actually say, Rick Rude was better in ECW and WWF, because like once he debuted down there, this is like, well, now you're just in the background with all the rest of it. Like, same thing with Brett, same thing with Kurt Hennig. These like huge, great wrestlers, you're lost in the shuffle, man.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about, like, you know, people wanting to see AEW fail. I think that's where AEW is failing right now, is that they just keep signing everybody. You know, Tony Khan is roughly the same age as us, and it's like he's collecting his favorite WWE superstars like it's a card game where they're action figures. And now you have this bloated locker room, and it ends up with this like NWO style stuff. Like, you need to build those storylines for people and give them something to do. They can't just fade into the background. You hotshot it.
You know what he needs? I mean, I don't know if he would ever go. I think he would go. Actually, I think he would go if you gave him complete control. If he can stick like a year over to like Heyman, if he could pull him, that I think that would be the biggest thing you could do there.
Yep. Get another creative in there.
You got to basically take a chance of like, yo, dude, if I don't like what's going on, I need to see the company get to here by this particular date, or I'm taking it back, but I will hire you and all hands off. That's what you got to do. Hire and all. I think they should lean on Dustin Reynolds too, because
what a brilliant mind for the business.
You should defer to him. He should be one of the top guys. Like, when something's explained, we're going to do this tonight. He could be the guy. Be like, let's talk about this particular. You know,
why?
Yeah. No. All right.
Yeah.
The next moment. This is right before I jumped into this company and didn't come out. I wish I could have seen this as a fan as a fan watching this at home. Mm-hmm. When this moment happened, I was like, that was real. He just did that to him. This is over the line. Fan reaction. I've never seen a riot happen like this. I was like, this company is real. This happened. Shane Douglas grabs.
Oh my God!
And Halo and shakes him, and it was so beautiful because Joey Styles just lets out a gasp and he shut up and just let the crowd react. People jumped the rails. I remember this guy jumped the rail. It looked like Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses. It wasn't him, but I was like everyone tried to kill Shane Douglas. Like, this is not wrestling anymore. You just tried to kill a man, and we're going to kill you. Hackett, you remember this moment?
I did not remember it until just now, but man, what a moment. Like, the heel move to do something like that, because that's so underhanded. You have someone at their most vulnerable, and
with that storyline too, like, you broke his neck. It was a misfire DDT, and then you took the girl Francine. You're like naked together doing these terrible promos, like it's like, well, I'm with the girl while you're freaking got Halo in your neck and all that.
Yeah,
and like, it was such. I don't know. I gotta say, when you say hated characters, hated storylines, who was more hate at that particular moment? Shane Douglas was the most hated guy in wrestling, I bar none. And then you got, I'm like, wow. And this is the way the boys acted, like Tommy Dreamer trying to get to him to kill him, and like they ran Shane to a car. And Shane's always said he was the most scared he ever was for his life. like wondering if the crowd was going to kill him. Because plus Gary Wolf was like a South Philly guy. So
you're doing it in his hometown.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, like you don't have moments like that anymore.
No, that's such a great memory that I had completely forgotten. And then he gets up out of the chair and takes off the collar.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
Man, Shane Douglas had a way with words. You know, people talk about like the
top Dudleys. 5 promo guys ever.
Yeah. You talk about the Dudleys and them, how they got the crowd riled up, but Shane Douglas walked so they could run.
Yes. Absolutely.
What a moment. Thank you for reminding me of that.
And that's why I say this is about shocking moments, like where you didn't see coming. Yeah. Who the hell saw that coming? Which also brings me we're down to 2 picks here. Another pick of mine where none of us thought when this match was going to happen that this entire match, I'll call it, every bit of this match was going to go this way. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hell in the Cell.
Yeah.
I will defer back to my childhood buddy Mark. I'm sure I'll send this video your way. Me and my boy Mark, we lived out past Scranton, especially Sundays in the middle of the winter, nothing to do. We watched every freaking pay-per-view there was.
Yeah.
This was a match where I threw it out in my mind. I'm like, oh, great. These two are fighting again. I'm bored. I want to, I was like, what's going to be so exciting about this? So I remember, they're going to the top of the cage. Great. Me and Mark got into a conversation. And in the middle of it, quickly turned and saw Foley going off the cage. And we didn't talk for 10 seconds. We're like, wait. It was just, all I had to say was, wait. Did Foley hit The Undertaker like in the face and he had an anger moment and got mad and threw him off the cage like, I'll kill you? Because The Undertaker always has that, he never breaks character. So when they pan up and they're showing him standing there, he's in character, but you can see the look on his face like, did I just kill him? You can just still see right through it. Like, wow. And there's that whole thing of, I know the Dark Side of the Ring, by the time this recording happened, Dark Side of the Ring version just came out. I was even like, that was too far. Like that was just like you shouldn't have did that. Like, then he gets up and then like, I'm not wrestling. I'm not a wrestler yet. I never took a bump yet. When he fell through the top of the cage, I was more about like, well, at least he's landing softly in a mat. Like, I don't know. Like I just didn't know. There's on the floor.
it's not as bad as the last one.
Yeah, but it turns out like the boys understand. Like, wow, that was like hitting a cement floor. Or at least the table breaks your fall a little bit. So that was just a match. I was just like, this holds up the ECW. Like as much as it was all Foley, like what did the Undertaker really do in that? Like he just gave the move.
Nudge.
Yeah. But even like I thought, I was like everyone, there's a snot up in his nose. I didn't know like he went up there. Like I didn't know you didn't get all that feedback back then because the internet was new. There wasn't really shows to go to, but that was definitely. When you say shocking moments, folks, before I pass the puck over here to pack it, like, you want to talk about the topic here? We didn't see this coming. We didn't see this coming.
And another moment that the announcers sold it so well. Jim Ross in that moment, man, it is just perfect. You get a reaction and then you let it breathe. And you let it speak for yourself. You let the crowd reaction, great camera work. You show everything. And you can see the hint of like remorse in the Undertaker's face, but it's still the Undertaker. That's not Mark. Yep. You don't see Mark. You don't see Mark until he comes out at the Hall of Fame. Mark doesn't come back to us until he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's the Undertaker all the time.
Which, by the way, that Hall of Fame speech with him, to me, nothing will ever be bigger than that. Yeah. Like that was the big. I love it, but I also hate it because I wish he wasn't on talk. I get it. He probably was waiting. Like, I wish I could talk. Like, for 30 some years, he
tell his story. Yeah,
I kind of like the mystery. I kind of wish he was a guy that just never did that. But he was just too big. You had to do it. You had to do it.
Yeah, and this spot is crazy. Everyone I talked to said this is the most shocking moment to them. That's their shocking moment, is seeing Foley fly off that cage. We've seen high spots like that, but man, that's
the other one that to me tops this. But like, he's a personal friend of mine, and I always said he's the only one that was more indestructible. That Cactus was Vic Grimes, both times going off and really not being hurt. He really wasn't hurt. Because that first Living Dangerously, I drove up with him. Yeah, it was me. I was there for that, and I just know the dude. When he hit the floor the very first time, I said to myself, if you don't get up and he goes out in the stretcher, I'm here for the night. Like, I'm at the hospital with him. Yeah. If he's up in about 90 seconds of walking away, I knew he was fine. 90 seconds later, he's up and walk. It's like, yeah, Vic's he's Herman Munster. Like, you can just drop a piano on his head and crazy.
Much to the chagrin of New Jack, he walked away from both of those.
Yes. Yeah. It was like the one guy New Jack couldn't really stop. Like, he just couldn't, no matter what he did, unless he got a gun. Like, I don't feel
which is not outside the realm of possibility, but thankfully did not happen.
Yeah, if anyone trolls, that checks out my channel here that you're watching right now, if you go to my past podcasts, Bill Alfonso was one of my guests, and he brought up how much he loved New Jack, but he loved that Vic Grimes was not scared of him. He used to always say he loved in the locker. He had a light smile of like, with mouthy stuff. A lot of New Jack people back down, and Vic never did. He was just a guy. It was like Runyon and Michael Strahan of the Eagles back in the day. It was like the two mean dogs that just it made for a freaking good show.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to I put this as a number one. It's, you could say everyone who watched on this list that. Well, this would have been my number one.
Nope.
Keep in mind, there's another 50 we probably could have added to this. We're just shooting the shit here. But this particular moment was another, oh my gosh, that this happened. You've never seen it since. I was bought hook, line, and sinker. And here it is. Yeah. Brian Pillman not only debuts in ECW, but attacks a fan and drags him and beats the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I fell for that hook, line, and sinker. I'm trying to remember who that kid was. He ended up becoming a wrestler. He was in training. He was on my first wrestling show. I remember walking in the locker room. He was the only face I knew. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the dude Pillman. Oh, I was like, he got me. I was like, he wasn't a fan. It was but the fact that he pulls him over the rail, and I'm telling you, he pulled this dude over the rail like a man that attacked you. Like you want to come over here? You swinging at me? Let's get it on. He slammed his face. He almost hit his face on the concrete because he pulls him and kind of his face plants him. He gets a fork or something and starts I was like, wow, like Pillman has lost his mind. He debuts and beats up a fan. Completely crazy.
They were selling it so well. Not even supposed to be here. What are you doing here? Don't you work somewhere else? God, it was good.
Wasn't that like you didn't see? We talk about moments you didn't see coming.
No,
it wasn't like Brian Pillman showed up in ECW. That I could kind of be like, he fits here, especially now. But the fact that he beats a fan up in that way, and it wasn't like wrestling moves. Like he's kicking him and just yanking him by his hair and throwing him in. Like he wasn't doing wrestling moves.
I
wouldn't have bought it.
No. It was a fight, man, and good for that kid for selling it like that. Imagine getting that moment. Like, you're about to make reality television.
Yes,
and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. His name escapes me, but I remember. May 22nd, 1999, Kathy Bell's company, WWWA. He was the only person on the show where I was just like, wow, that's the Pillman kid. Like he was in the Battle Royal, and yeah, we didn't cross paths at all. But I was just like, because we're kind of like, for the new guys, we're all like, we're gonna be all right here. But he was the only that's one of the things. Like, if you notice, we've had about 4 ECW moments. Like, they knew Paul in that company. They knew how to blend reality to like, that is real. This is real. Like, wow, I believe it. You know, like crazy madness.
And you want to talk about, you know, I don't believe half of the people who walk down the aisle anymore.
I don't. Yeah.
That was the thing about ECW. They didn't look like professional wrestlers.
Yep.
They looked like dudes. You know, they just look like some dudes. Like Public Enemy's coming out there in hockey jerseys. Sabu looks like your crazy uncle. Like
Sabu, like, I don't understand how anyone would cock off to him and like really challenge. Like just. The first one of the biggest moments to me in wrestling wasn't a move. It had me in awe every single time. But the very first time I saw Sabu and he took, he took off, and I'm looking at the scars. I couldn't stop. The moves he was doing was secondary. I couldn't stop staring at look at that. Just. Look at that. That's razor wire. That's what did that. Razor wire. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the line was blurred because they weren't these larger than life characters. They were real. They were gritty, and it was dirty, and it was different.
And just moves that you see, but like inventive moves that Vince wouldn't allow on that. Like, someone's gonna get hurt with that,
And they did. Yeah. They did. But like you were talking about falling off, and I fell off because once I got past the cartoon world of it all and like learned what a work is, I didn't watch it. And I remember watching Flyboy Rocco Rock. My username for the longest time was Flyboy PH.
Yep.
And seeing him do the drive-by through a table, and I'm like, what is this? This is what wrestling could be. Yeah. And I'm stuck watching Max Moon. No disrespect to Conan. But stuck watching Max Moon and Tony Atlas as Saba Simba and like a billion Doink the Clowns. And I could be watching somebody drive somebody through a table and he looks like the similar build to me. Ted Petty was amazing. And they brought you back, and that reality era of wrestling owes everything to ECW. And there's fans.
You know what? And I'm a film guy, so I'm huge on trying to have the best production value for my film because I want to be on par with anything that's on TV or movies these days. Besides my recent movie, Camera X, which is lit and all that, but it's more of a reality TV, true crime, so it didn't need to be as crisp. Yeah. One of the things I loved about ECW was its production value. Yeah. I love that it was like, this is the best we got. This is the best lighting, the best camera. We're going to come at you with the best show. And I loved it because I made the movie Pennsylvania Hardcore. I've been part of that scene since my late teens. I love the whole idea of like, we're just going to rent this fire hall and throw a show. But we're not going to have fancy lights. We don't care about that. We just want pylons, pits, and we're going to come out and just go crazy for these bands. We are going to set this up. The next show is going to be in someone's basement. We're just going to have the best show possible. That's why I loved ECW, because I felt it was the punk rock of wrestling.
Yeah.
And even like swearing was like a huge no. Like when you first started wrestling, like he just said that. He said that. Yeah. You can't say that, but they said it here, right? Now it's like the fact that changing to modern times here, because we're a couple weeks before WrestleMania 41 here. Like Cody tells The Rock to go F himself. I was kind of like, dude, I've been here and done that from 30 years ago. Like saying that if you're on Netflix isn't working for me. No. It just doesn't. Like I think it's okay to say swear once in a while, but if they're gonna make that a full-time thing,
it loses its value. And that's what you saw a little bit with ECW, and no disrespect to CZW, but you saw that it went from ECW had great wrestling, had great storylines, and it had some hardcore stuff. CCW was so much of the overwhelming hardcore stuff that it diluted the effect that it had before.
You're talking the Zandig era, because I've thought, I gotta say, but for anyone, I brought my TV show Fight Court. We're ties with ECW. The new era here. It's a legit company. Some of that is in there, but it's a legit, like, more of wrestling.
Yeah,
great locker room. I love working with them so far. But that Zandig era, when it was like 18 tables got broken in the first match, you're kind of like
light tubes everywhere.
You're not. It's too much.
Yep.
Tease the table like 4 or 5 times, and then the guy gets off the table. Like, and then finally in the 5th time, someone goes. You build up that. You just keep breaking tables, and people get hit with weed whackers for $50. I'm like, these kids are getting mutilated
for
no money, and there was no amount of money for me to want to keep cutting my head open for 200-300 crowd people, just for the respect at the end of the night. Like, yo, dude, you did a good show. Like, thank you. I now got to go home and Neosporin, and I'm stuck with this for like the next coming weeks, that, and scars for the rest of my life. But thank you. You value that. That's why I've always had a love for the hardcore. I love the Benoit, Malenko, Eddie, like the people that didn't have to do that. The Chris Candidos that did not have to do. I love that. As Garen and I first started, we were pushing the hardcore thing, and within like 6 months, we kind of looked at each other and was like, "Let's come finesse wrestlers. Let's get away from this." The idea was like almost not to take a chair shot ever, because we were thinking that far ahead,
Yeah, and that's what happens when you start dropping the F-bomb every time. Plus, we just had that moment in AEW with Christian and Edge. They just had that moment. So I don't know. It felt so phony and forced. I didn't like it. With the modern stuff, man, every now and then a storyline will hook me. Every now and then I'll get into something I like a little bit, but like, it's just,
I could tell you the last year, the only thing that had my attention, so anybody knows, when I say I keep an eye on wrestling, it's just the YouTube clips after SmackDown and Raw. Like, whatever they show me is what, and I can't tell you, I'm at the point now, a lot of times I'm fast forwarding the promos, because like I'm annoyed at 20-minute promos and then maybe a move or two, and then it's too theater. I respect theater. I'm in film, but it's too theater. I don't like the way they walked around, but the bloodline thing was the only thing that
was good.
In Roman's return and all that was keeping me still interested. Now I'm at the point where I think the bloodline has more to say 2 or 3 years from now. Right now,
I think you're right.
Yeah, keep it away from me. But it's like we're within a month ago is when the Cena does this big turn, and I'm like, why? He's been heel before. I guess it's just the longest streak of him, like, or at the end.
Well, you got to think about it. There's people who are fans that never saw that never saw rapping Cena throwing ethnic slurs at Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. But the whole thing is, I have to say I'm the odd man out for that week, because I was like, I don't think it compared to Hogan. I'll never think the heel turn. Hogan was still
Rock's what is he doing? What are you doing, Dwayne?
I think The Rock needs to stay like week to week. He should have been from December till WrestleMania. He should have been there week to week. It should have been his Hollywood contract. I got to be at the show. He cannot just come in and like do his magic once in a while. It's not enough. But what I'm trying to get with the Cena and Rhodes, and anybody can jump in the comments on this one, guys. That's already been derailed. I could care. To me, the promos that this went on forever, and Cody's already hit his finishing move on him. So Cody should have been a nightmare chasing him. Like, there should have been no words. He should have been trying to get to Cena. I think they should have did the 16 time. Like, the champ has everything down. I know everything you're going to do before you do it. Cena should have been constantly leaving Cody in the ring, going right into WrestleMania, and then finally Cody comes through and beat. The fact that he's already hit him with his finishing move and left him laying.
Yeah.
With that, I will tell everybody, feel free to jump in the comments. attack us or compliment or throw maybe your favorite shocking moment in there. All comments are answered. And I would ask everybody to please stand by for my film directory where you could check out and watch anything at the end here. But with that, Hackett, I thank you so much for coming on the show. This show was very fun. And feel free to plug anything you got.
My pleasure. I got nothing to plug, man. I'm just here for the fun of it. I'm excited. This gets me going. I love talking about old wrestling, and these moments especially, it sent me down memory lane, man. I forgot about that whole angle with Gary Wolf. So thank you. Thank you for having me. Wonderful show. Dark Military, still my favorite of your films.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, I will say that the party is over.